Welcome, friends, to Tank Tap, the podcast about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben. It's episode 288, and I'm here with Lucy.
Hello.
And Aadil.
Hey!
Hello, both. Thank you for hanging out with our guests last week and doing an incredibly interesting episode and fun episode.
Did you get a chance to listen to it?
Yes, I did today.
Nice.
It was, yeah. I mean, I'll leave more often and get more interesting people to come onto the show every now and then. So, but no, it was really good. We've got to follow that up tonight, so we might as well crack into some beers. I'm going to start. I've got a big beer. I'm ready for it. It's a new beer from Arbour called All the Simcoe Ladies in a gold can.
I love that.
It is a double dry hopped IPA with Simcoe, Mosaic, Idaho 7, and more Simcoe. We liked it, so we put a ring pull on it. 7.2%. Yeah, I think it was brewed like 2 weeks ago or something like that. So
nice.
I'm gonna crack this one open. Lucy, you've got a beer. What are you drinking?
I do, but nothing will top Simcoe Ladies. We might as well just crown that the winner this week already. So. I've got a beer. Sadly, only one beer this week, but it is also a big boy, and it is from Pomona Island, and it's called I Feel Weasels on All Sides. Okay. Very hard to see as it's red writing on like cream,
Nice.
but on peach background. Anyway, dippers with cryo pop. Dippers rewriting beer history. Dippers in garden chairs. Dippers with nice body and a long, tasty finish. 8.5%. That's it. 440ml can.
Nice. Cool. Aadil, what are you starting off with this week?
I am following your suit, Ben, because I'm having Enter Simcoe.
Ah, nice.
It's a hazy IPA from Siren, 6%. Soft, tasty IPA dedicated to one of the all-time great hops, Simcoe. Expect vibrant tropical fruit notes with punchy citrus and piney aromas. Yeah, I haven't had a Siren in a while. Looking forward to it. Comes in a wee can I'm not used to.
Oh, the 330. I think the last Siren I had was one of their barista series ones recently, which are always nice every year.
Yeah, they are. They're bringing out some more, and
Okay.
I did see on something like Facebook or Twitter somewhere that they were putting out a call to like influencers.
Yeah.
If they wanted
Sugar,
to receive...
I was meant to send that to you.
Yeah, I looked at it, I clicked the link, and then I never did anything with it. So we'll probably just buy
I filled
them,
out the
won't we?
form, but I think it was just their Caribbean chocolate cake, and I was like, I'm Caribbean.
Oh,
give me
yes,
free
it
beer.
is. Yes.
Yeah, Sugar, I forgot to send that to you. Yeah,
That's fine. We'll find it. We'll find it.
Mm.
I've just picked a spot on the side of my head. It's bleeding. Oh dear.
Dear.
I'll face this way instead. This beer's lovely. I mean, it feels much bigger. I know it's 7.2%, but it feels like a dipper. It's got that lovely smooth mouthfeel. It's got a big mouthfeel and a big flavour to it. Very sweet on the nose. Lots of sweetness coming through. And that flavour is, I mean, it's tons of Simcoe, but there's this. I guess it's maybe the Idaho 7, just giving a little bit more of a creaminess to it. Just a touch towards the end of a kind of very creamy, sweet kind of coconut hint to it, right at the end of it. But before that, it's full of tropical fruit. It's a little bit of sort of limey citrus in there as well. It's kind of as you would expect from a Simcoe and Mosaic mix, but big. And like a full flavour, absolutely full. It's incredibly thick. I mean, it even looks like a dipper. It looks like 2018 or 19, whenever that was, Juice Bomb Dipper. And and it has those qualities to it as well. That thickness, that full body, the creaminess to it, the lovely full fruit. It's just really nice.
Yeah, mine looks similar.
A pint's going to go down incredibly quickly,
Yeah.
so we'll move on, Lucy, and we'll come to you as it's looking similar.
Maybe not as gloopy as yours, and maybe a few, just a tinge lighter. Mine,
Yeah, mine's a little darker, perhaps.
I think on the light it probably looks a bit more straw than it is. It's very orangey in from here, but yeah, just smelling it, lots of tropical fruit flavors, and like yours, Ben, a bit of sweetness on the nose. But yeah, very much thought, oh, this smells like a tropical yogurt, like passion fruit or a bit of mango. Oh, it smells really good, but taste-wise, oh yeah, that's good. It doesn't taste like a dipper though. Jeez.
Okay.
I think you could probably tell it's a bit stronger in strength just because of the sweetness, but it's I could knock this back very quickly. It probably feels a bit more 6% rather than was it 8.5, I believe it was. Yeah, 8.5, but not quite sessionable, but definitely doesn't feel like a really big beer. Which 8.5%? For us, it's nothing. So.
That's it. Come back to us when we're just drinking 14%. That's it.
But yeah, it's really wet, so it's like don't feel compelled to like keep sipping. I think gosh, was it a Pomona Island that I had last week, or was it something from Black Iris? It was probably similar to this strength, but it was very dry and it was very powdery, and it's just like I felt impelled to like keep on drinking it because it's just like just took all the moisture out of my mouth, and it was like trying to get some like moisture out of it, but it's just it was just too dry. Whereas this, it's just complete opposite. It's very wet finish, very wet throughout the taste, and yeah, getting these nice. It's got a nice hoppiness to it, a nice bit of bitterness at the end. The sweetness isn't too overwhelming, which is good. But yeah, it's a very good dipper from Pomona Island. Like, if you've ever had a beer from them, you know they make good. I think I've only really had like IPAs from them and stuff like that. I don't usually see them making other styles.
Yeah, I've mostly had IPAs and dippers from them. I think I did have a stout from them not that long ago, maybe a few episodes back.
Maybe
maybe
once or something. But it's like, yeah, this is their bread and butter. So it's like they know how to make this style. IPAs and double IPAs, and yeah, I'd love to know what hops are in it. Yeah, no, doesn't say. I don't think it's got oats in it, so yeah, you definitely. I think that maybe like
wasn't there a cryo pop?
Cryopop, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one of these sort of more modern hops that loads of UK brewers were brewing with about 6 or so months ago, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily say it's like a single hop beer, but yeah, it's got tons of flavour, tons of fruitiness. It's very good. Starting to feel that alcohol burn now, so it warms on you. So
good.
And you had Superman's big sister, the double milk imperial stout.
Yes, that's
right?
it. Yeah. Is it a mole stout?
Imperial mole stout. Yeah, sorry, Untapped didn't called it a double milk, but it is the mole stout.
Yes. Yeah.
And I had the last week it was the Cancion Mixteca from Pomona, so that was okay. But yeah, this is their bread and butter, and they know how to make these beers very well.
Perfect.
And this is another good one.
If you want to hear more about Ben's Pomona Stout, episode 284.
Okay. A month ago.
Lifetime ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty
back
much,
when
yeah.
I played Teacup.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That does feel like a long
Was
time
I
ago.
was I pre-Metroid Dread?
Yes.
Yeah. The hotness at the time was a little game called Deathloop.
Ah, never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
That game did kind of come and go, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll come back around again.
Hey.
I hope it does.
We'll come over to our tanked up historian Aadil for your beer, sir. Cataloger,
yeah.
not historian, cataloger, I suppose would be better.
Resident Googler. So it's nice and hazy, as you would think for a hazy IPA. It's actually got a crisp, slightly citrus, mildly floral, I want to say. Nose, but really quite light. I was expecting a bit more of a tropical punch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not quite there. There's a touch of mango, and a little bit of like sweet citrus. Ooh, that is a. When you have like a 4.7 or a 5.2% beer, that like 1.3 to /0.8%, you really can't tell the difference. That 6%, just the smoothness, the creaminess. It's been a while. I've been having these lighter beers on the podcast and when I was out and about, and boy, do I. It's not that I like getting drunk. It's that you can't. There's no way. Like you just can't really substitute that smoothness and that creaminess, and it's done really well here. There's a slight oaty maltiness as well in this IPA, just helping making it a little bit creamy than you would expect, which is really just smooths everything out.
Nice.
Yeah. Mine with the oats with mine, it definitely gave it that bit more pizzazz with the creaminess as well. I think that's where I got like the smell of yogurt from.
And it's got it's got that citrus is there, a bit more of that tropical fruit, less direct mango, more generic tropical fruit coming through. It finishes a little wet, and I was hoping for something a little more piney, given the flavor text, but it's not like Simcoe's a really super dank hop, so I'm not surprised that it's not quite there. I was just, when they say piney, and you're like, aha, you've queued me up to be disappointed. No, but other than that, it's really smooth. Crisp is what I said on the nose, and I think that I'll go with that. It kind of ends. It has a finish, but it's really light. Most of the taste is in just that first 10 seconds. And again, there's almost no taste curve really. It's just sort of a natural. I am tasting it because it's in my mouth. Now it is gone, and it is fading away. And there's, like I said, a light citrus, slightly sweet, tropical finish, but not very bitter, but just bitter enough to make you feel like you had a sip of beer. Definitely not something that you will force you to grab again because of the drying out, but it is something you're going to grab again because it is a quick, tasty, crisp IPA. You get those tropical notes, you get that citrus, and then it kind of leaves. It doesn't storm off, but it leaves. It's done, and you're like, I enjoyed that. Best have another sip.
It's a good summary and a good way to just keep drinking that beer. Absolutely. Nice. To go back to something that Lucy said, I don't know whether brewers would want the term yogurty to start being kind of thrown around. It's almost the same as when everyone started calling those slightly thicker beers, especially Garage, just calling their beer soup, like that soupy. Yeah. It's a kind of it's almost a bit like oniony as well. There's a few of these terms
vegetal.
Vegetal. Yeah. Do people
Earthy.
Really want their beer to be that? I don't know. But yeah, we'll chuck yogurty in there into the vocabulary of beers.
I think it's because I usually not sponsored Oikos yogurt every morning, and it's just got that. I like the fruit flavors.
Yeah, I mean, you say not sponsored, but if they want to sponsor us, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Not that I eat yogurt, to be fair. Let's talk about some games. And enjoy the beers that we are drinking. Lucy, we discussed it just before we started. And we were talking
Let's
about
talk about it.
Unpacking.
Yes, we need to talk about it because I really, 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 really enjoyed it. For those not familiar, it is a isometric. I guess you call it a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Very, very zen, very, very therapeutic puzzle game where you're basically got these isometric little dioramas, and you're going through several years of this young to middle-aged woman's life, and you're seeing the spaces she lived in, like houses, apartments, etc., and you are unpacking her things and placing the items around the room. It's basically feng shui, the game. And it's so indie in the fact that it's like, yes, this is the perfect way to tell a story, like an abstract story of someone's life, just seeing their belongings and seeing them just go through their life, relationships, breakups, without even telling a story, just seeing like the items that they have in their room and their possessions, and like collecting too many stuffed toys or amiibo or something.
Yes, yeah.
Or,
all the action figures that then appear, like, yeah.
Yeah, and then as she gets into middle age, it's like she has far too many plants and candles, which I have started to accumulate candles, and it's like, oh, this is fun. But yeah, it just instantly spoke to me because the first year is 1997, and like after you finish unpacking stuff into this like very childlike room, you got like, and it goes with the times. It's just like she's got a Tamagotchi, you got a Game Boy, and it's like, yes, this is very much me. It's like, yeah, at the end of it, it's like, oh, this is the first time I've had my own bedroom, and that was me. Except it was like, yeah, it was like December 1996, and it's like, yes, this is this lines up very nicely. It's probably more closer to you because I worked it out. It's like this person's probably about 4 years older than me, and I was like, this is probably very much Ben's thing, apart from maybe like hacking out the bras.
Yes, yeah. I definitely hit with it. With the different things that they had, like there's some lovely storytelling, not just through the spaces that you move through. Each of the levels is a different home that they kind of inhabit, and as you say, you start off in the sort of like child's bedroom. You then go to, I think, sort of your first like uni room, then jumps to kind of shared house sort of thing, or just after they've done their undergrad kind of thing. It's like sort of like 3 years later sort of thing, and tells you through the stages of their life. But also, I find it really good that there's lots of storytelling through the items. It's not just here's a room, here's a bunch of items, put them about. It's here's a room, these are their belongings. Now we're going to the next space. A bunch of those belongings have come with them. So you're almost sorting the same items. And there are new things. There are some stuff's removed. But there were things like, what looked like 3rd edition D&D rule books. And I'm like, yep, they were absolutely on my shelf at some point in my life. And they kind of came almost with her through almost all of those houses. The little kind of action figures, some of those came through all of those spaces. Little souvenirs from the places they'd sort of visited, really like as that. Well. Yeah. There's lovely little touches like that. And it isn't just, here's a puzzle, here's a bunch of stuff, put it in a space. Although there is an element, sort of a puzzly kind of element to that. But it absolutely gives you an insight into this woman's life.
Yeah, you're unpacking their personality and their likes, and like she seems like a very creative person. I mean, she went to university, but it's not stated what she studied. But you see all these art utensils, these easels, these very, very art driven things, and it's like, oh, okay. And me and you both put a diploma over the toilet at a certain point, but the game didn't like that.
I mean, but
But
it's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's the thing that we've all kind of gone through. I've got a diploma. I've got fucking no idea where it is now. It went in a frame at some point. I've got no idea
oh, you went that
where I
far.
put it. Well, I mean, not even a big, just in a little one of those like perspex, like not even with an actual frame on it, just a bit of perspex on a bit of cardboard that it sits in between.
How vain of you. Mine's not even in. Mine's
That probably then just went
older.
in a box somewhere straight afterwards. Like, I need to keep this flat, put it in this thing, just chuck it somewhere. But like the way that it tells those kinds of stories, like the diploma, which we both put, we're like, yeah, you know, she put it up on her wall in the previous place. Oh, there's nowhere to do that now. Right, okay. Put it above the toilet. Oh, the game doesn't want me to do that. Oh, it wants me to put it under the bed. Yes, of course it does. Out of the way, kind of, you know, pushed to the side sort of thing. And there's lots of stuff in that space as well, where, again, excellently through storytelling, you've got to be a little bit more, not creative, but you've got to be a little bit more clever with how you're organising things like clothes, because it's a shared wardrobe. And you're like, well, these clothes are kind of like stacked really awkwardly about, so I've got to kind of fit all of these in with this other person's, you know, like I've moved into their space. So suddenly I've got to do all of this. And as I was playing it, I kind of thought to myself, I've done this before. I don't know what game it is. I don't know what I've done, but I definitely feel like I have played this before. And I'm like, is it a little itch game that I've done something similar to this? And I realised it was Florence. When they moved in together.
Getting that.
Yeah, and it was that kind of thing. One of the puzzles in Florence was putting stuff in their shared space, and then the fella moved in, and then you had to kind of find space for his things as well. And it almost had a similar kind of emotional kind of pull to it as well. You know, you're experiencing how this character feels just through their living space. And it's, you know, there were moments where I'm like, you know, you see it suddenly go and you're like, oh, and you do feel deflated when you move to that next kind of space, or elated when you move to another space, and some kind of other things happens. It absolutely pulls on your emotions very, very well through doing very little.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's not even, because I think that the story could have got like really dark, and it could have been like a very, you know, sad and emotional tale, but fortunately it doesn't go in the direction that I was thinking it does. But as you say, it draws on that emotion by just like evoking your own just self-reflection, and like thinking, I mean especially for, like, I don't know, in a Western setting, it's like, yes, I have all these kinds of items, and it's like, yes, I put these items. It's kind of scary how, like, how similar we are and how homogenized everything is. Where it's like, oh yeah, I put the cup there, and it's like, yeah, I gotta put my toothbrush and my toothpaste in it. It's like, yes, it obviously, you know, relies on those conventions, and it's not to its detriment. It enables it to, you know, just pull on your own heartstrings of thinking about your own life and your own journey. But it's like, yeah, I thought it was a really touching game without, you know, having any like kind of too much emotion to it. And I thought that was a really powerful thing, and, you know, that only a game like this, made by, you know, a small, very creative, very passionate team, could make. And yeah, it's fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and I just love, like, the whole tactile feel to it, like that Florence had, and very Sims-like music playing in the background, making it very relaxing. And it's technically pixel art, so it's like, you know, some of the objects could be hard to see, but I've found that, like, the sound design in the game, like, made it so much easier to distinguish this very small round disc, what is that? And then you, like, put it on any item, and it's like, sort of sounds like a castanet, and it's like, oh, it's a coaster.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, and then it lets you
Ah.
stack your coasters, and it's just like this game of the year. And just
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, you could. Yeah, you could do
Or like
exactly
the
that.
fridge magnets. It's like, what is
yeah.
this thing? And it's just like, oh, you put it on the fridge and go, what? And it's like,
Yeah.
very clacky sound. It's like, oh yeah, it's fridge magnets.
That
And I
sounds great.
love the achievements in the game as
Mm.
well, because they're basically they're all secret, they're all hidden. I don't know what platforms this game is on, but I played it on Game Pass.
Yep.
I
So
assume you did too, then. And I love playing on xCloud. Short aside, I love playing on xCloud because it was like, oh, that game's out, and it's like, oh yeah, I played a demo for that game ages ago, and this looks really cool. Just instantly launched into it on xCloud on my PC, and playing with controller felt really good. I thought it'd be a very much mouse and a mouse-based game where it's like, yeah, you can only really play it with a mouse, but works absolutely wonderfully with controller as well. But yeah, what was I saying? The aside took me too much.
The sound design, the
Yes,
achievements,
the
the secret
yes,
achievements.
the secret
yes.
achievements, yeah. Just like arranging things on a fridge magnet a certain way and doing other things like that, and you get these stickers for like, I mean, it's a photo album, so you can literally take photos of your finished like dioramas, your rooms, and it's like, oh, you can add a sticker to it or whatever. I didn't take many pictures apart from one in like pastel green colored Game Boy like tone, and that was just the one that I did. But it's like, yeah, each time you unlock a new achievement you get a new sticker, and it's just like, it's fun, it's really fun figuring those out. It's like, oh, what can I do, what can I put where to pop this achievement. But yeah, I love this game. It's very good.
Yeah, and I did, and I like how everything kind of has its place, but not it's not too specific, right? So those coasters can kind of go on the table wherever you sort of want. Things like DVDs or Blu-rays, they can go on the shelves, but they don't. You don't have to be that anal about stacking up all of the Blu-rays together and all of the DVDs together and all of the Wii games together and all of the GameCube games together. You don't have to do that. And I did at first. And when I'm stacking stuff, I'm like, oh shit, there's an extra Blu-ray. There's not enough room. Right, it's just going to go on top of the stack of these things.
Yeah.
And then there's this extra one of this
That's
as well.
real life
That
for
just
you.
goes on the top of that one as well. And it was, and I'm just like, yes, this is absolutely how people inhabit spaces. It captures that really, really well.
It's just like, yeah, we plan to use this rice cooker, but the toaster's got to go somewhere, so put it in a shelf to never be used ever again.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that freedom, and I thought, like, especially in the later levels when you get, start moving into bigger spaces, the feeling of finding an extra shelf or drawer is the same catharsis and relief and euphoria that I feel in real life when I realise I haven't used that drawer. Let me put all my 16,000 wires into it. And yeah, so it's so it's such a homely game, pardon the pun, and it's just so relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
It's one of my favourite games this year.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it very good. It's super short.
Yeah, it's probably about 3 hours.
I mean, I don't know if it's even that. I think I did it about
You're
two,
a quick
maybe.
unpacker. Well, I played it across 2 days, so
Okay.
maybe my perception's warped. But yeah, that last house, it's like, I was like, oh my god, this is at least
Massive,
$500,000.
Massive, yeah, exactly, yeah. Super.
Where does it take place?
I don't know, but there are a few kind of items which I didn't
Not in
recognise.
London,
It's
not
not
in
It's not
Rome,
the UK.
not
no.
in India,
Not in
and
Amsterdam, because there's some windmill
Yeah, she went traveling to those
Yeah.
places, so it's not.
Oh, I see. I was like, I was super curious on how you were figuring that out.
Well, there's
somewhere in
there's
the Western world where they
yeah,
have electricity.
but but I don't think it's.
Canada.
I don't know whether it is the Western world because I mean Western developed as such, but I think it's maybe like the East because there's things like the rice cooker. There's the
I thought she just went on holiday and
because
really liked
there's
Ow.
a couple of other bits as well, isn't there? There's a couple of items which I was like, I have no idea what this item
Electrical outlets.
is.
That's how we can tell.
That's yes, I didn't
I
even
think
look
she's
at
in
that.
the US. I think
Okay.
she's in the US. In the US or Canada.
Yeah. But again, there were some things where I'm like, I don't know what this is. It was almost like a little, what looked like kind of like a candle that had a lid on. And, and a few of those, I'm like, I don't know what these are, whether they're candles, but they had this more oriental design to the sort of to the lids to them. And then there was this like dragon statue and a couple of other things as well. I'm thinking, is it a little bit more Eastern influence, or is that just maybe the relationship that then came with part of that, perhaps?
Well, possibly because she, because I think, in that side of the world, like very small apartments, and you do go to a very small apartment at one point.
Yeah.
I thought after she came back from traveling, as if we're dissecting the story of this woman's
I mean,
life.
that sounds great. That I mean, the fact that not all narratives need to be told, right? Like show don't tell. I will let you know that Witchbeam is based in Brisbane, Australia, which speaks to your Western but Eastern influence.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
Mr. Googler. Well done.
Just call me RG. Don't call me.
No. I mean, yeah, that does make sense. So yeah, it's a fantastic little experience. It's
already
available.
downloading it.
Yeah, do it. It's available on Game Pass. It won't take a huge amount of your time up, but I think it's something that, like Florence, will just without being as narratively driven as Florence was, will still have a little bit of an emotional pull to you, whilst giving you a nice kind of almost relaxed puzzle game to play as well.
Yeah.
Which I think, Lucy, is probably very different to the other game that you played.
Yeah, very different. One is about burning things down, or at least preventing things from burning down. I played Nuclear Blaze, which probably did the rounds. Not just because I really enjoyed my time with it, but they did advertise this game as made by one of the people who made Dead Cells, and it don't go in thinking, oh yeah, this is has Dead Cells influence, other than like the pixel art. The character that you control, he's very he doesn't have the movement of your Dead Cells character. Dead Cells probably has like one of the best rolls and dodges in video games, and this guy, he moves like an absolute tank. So I go in thinking that it's going to be such fluid movement. You're playing a firefighter, and there's not enough firefighter games, There's probably like one on the NES and like some indie games.
There's another one that's come out recently as well.
Is it like Firefighter
Fire Ember or something like that. Yeah. Or maybe one called Ember and then another one called Fire Girl or something. Yeah.
And there's some very strange looking ones that look like like someone tried to make like something that has like inexplicably the budget of like Base Fishing 2021, but is Firefighter Simulator 2019, and it just looks like an asset flip game or something like that. But anyway, not enough firefighter games. This is a side-scrolling puzzle action game, I guess. You're playing as this. There's really no setup to this game, which is good. It's just like, just get me into the action. This building's on fire. You play as this firefighter. He or she, I think it's a he, but anyway. basically it's got some. I guess it's not Metroidvania. I guess it's just you gain upgrades along the way. Basically, you can just only shoot in the water in a straight line at the start, and then you get these other abilities that let you say fire when you're fire your hose when you're climbing from a ladder, or fire, up above, because you can only at the start fire left and right. There's an upgrade that lets you fire up above. And yeah, it's very short. It's probably about 1.5, 2 hours, which is my kind of length. It's a game that just says what it needs to say. Here's a cool little firefighting game, and get out, and doesn't and it's got a good pace to it. It's different. It's probably about 10, 15 levels to it, all of varying sizes. But it's just basically clearing out a level by, shooting the water on the fire in a very reductive way. But it's got these nice puzzle elements where it's like, okay, there's an electrical fire here. I have to find a way to turn off the mains, off the electricity before I can go to that part,
Right.
And put out the fire there. And it's like the fire spreads in this not very dynamic way. It's not like, I don't know, Breath of the Wild kind of like mad physics or anything like that, or that game, was it Noita or something, where it has that very dynamic and physics-based system. It's very much, okay, the fire up in this corner is going to spread to this particular area. If you only put out half of it, it's going to come back, but only into that very specific area, because usually you've turned on some sprinklers or something elsewhere. But it's very much going around these set levels and figuring out, okay, I need to go here and turn off this mains, put on these sprinklers before I go here and here and here. It's very satisfying in the way it's just like, okay, the puzzles are clearly guiding me, but it's still very therapeutic just putting out those fires with the hose, because that mechanic is it's fun. But yeah, it's a few hours long. It's not. I really enjoyed my time with it, because it's like, this is something different. It's just a different package for like a side-scrolling puzzle game, but it should be game of the year, because the collectibles or the secrets in the game is finding cats and saving them. So
can't go wrong with that.
As all good firefighters are trained in, I assume.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, the story went in a way which I was like, oh, didn't expect this. You're basically going through this underground lab, and it's like, okay, this place was off the grid. Nobody knows about it. There's some weird government shit going on down there. Who knows what it is? But then it's just like, at the end of the game, it's like, oh, I have to contend with this as well. That's interesting. So there's something lurking down there.
Okay.
And turns into something that's like, oh, didn't you know where it's going, but you still don't expect it to turn into like an actual combat game by the end of it. Yeah, so it's got some intrigue to it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really love how there's these different modes in the game. Basically, once you jump into the game, you can toggle. You got these sliders, so it's like basically you can toggle how much armor you have, how quickly the fire spreads, how powerful your hose is. So you can really fine tune that. So because like the very last level, I had a bit of issues on, because it's like, oh, this guy moves very slowly. You get this dodge roll, and by the time he finishes his dodge roll, like a fire might have started underneath him. It's just or where he ends up, and it's like, you can't just cancel out your dodge and do a back jump or something like that in Dead Cells. It's just like, no, it's like, you're dead just immediately, and it restarts you to the very start of the level, no matter how many fires you put into it. So,
oh wow,
Yeah, the last level probably took me the longest time out of the entire game. But I was stubborn and I was like, I'm just gonna do it on the default thingy, even though I could have, toggled any of those settings if I'd wished to. But I'm a stupid idiot stubborn gamer, so I didn't. But I like that those options were there, and
Absolutely.
there's a kid mode which allows. I think it's like separate modes. I think it's like completely separate from the normal campaign, where it's like, oh, apparently the designer made it for his like 3-year-old kid, and one of the modes it's like, okay, not you can't you can take quote unquote damage from the fire, but you'll never die, and it's basically auto play. The kid is just like basically pressing one button to fire the hose and the directional buttons to go around, and it's like very linear. But
So
I
it's
thought
not-
that was a nice.
It's not putting out kids who are on fire.
No. Although that would be good.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, that's quite the mode.
Yeah. No, sadly not. But yeah, I thought that was a nice inclusion, because this seems like very much just a passion project that somebody had, and it's like, let me just bring this to life and sell it on Steam. Because I think that particular company, I think they have a flat management structure where everyone is like can make their own projects and everyone gets paid the same and
Oh, cool.
stuff like that. So I think they're probably just like, oh, this is, in a very Valve-like way, this is my project, except that they actually put out the game and finished it and sold it. But yeah, I think it's a really nice short experience, and I really enjoyed my time with it. So,
What's the company called?
oh gosh, I don't know.
Because if that's the way they work, it's a super interesting way of
Let me
working.
Google.
Yeah.
Is it? It's not Dead Isle. Was that
Google.
the game that was saying? Google. Where's Mr. Googler?
Yeah, I guess I could have done that.
Deep Night Games.
Okay.
Deep Night Games.
Deep Night.
Is this a different? That's not the. Yeah, this. So this is under a different development thingy. So I don't know if the guy left Dead Cells team. I don't know. But super cool thing. Like,
I mean,
I love pixel art. It's very colourful as well, and the fire's got a cool look to it as well, and the way it spreads is very good.
I dig the the lighting, especially like you're in these dark areas. It's got very like almost Super Metroid type coloring palette.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the music's really good, by the way. Yeah, and devastating backdrafts. Yeah, it's kind of cool because like when you breach a door, like sometimes, like this massive like explosion happens, and it's like, yeah, this was what would happen if you were in firefighting in real life.
Is it kind of, there's the idea that there's this adaptive difficulty to it, that you can change various different sliders based on kind of how you play and stuff. But is that kind of stuff, and like the backdrafts and how the fire spreads and stuff, is that kind of what's the word I'm sort of looking for? Is that kind of happening naturally, or does it feel like it's kind of like this is the programmed path that these things, you've opened the door so this will happen, you've done this so this is how this thing happen, or is it a little bit more natural?
No, it's very very as you say, programmed. It's very set in stone, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna open this door, there'll always be a backdraft behind this door, and it's like it's kind of good, because it's like when it does reset you to the start of the level, it's like, okay, I've got my plan now. I know which way I'm gonna move. I know which door I'm gonna open first. It does have this non-linearity where it's like, okay, I can choose to put I've got this what do you call it? The thing on the hose, the thing that you turn.
A wheel.
The wheel.
The
wheel on, not the reel. The gosh, I've played so many Resident Evil games where you pick up the thingy that you put on the thingy and you turn it, and I can't think of what it's called.
It's not a gear. It's a
Valve.
Valve, yes.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's
okay, I've got this.
because we're talking about
Glitch
Valve in a
because to a Valve,
negative
yeah.
way, then it's just gone. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I've picked up. There's only like 3 valves per level, and it's like you have to choose which faucet you put it on, and it's like, okay, I can decide to put it on here and make my journey through here a bit better, or put it on this one and make there's different ways you can approach a level, but it's very telegraphed in like, okay, these are where the fires are going to be. As I say, well, if you don't put them all out in a certain area, they're only going to spread to really that particular area. I haven't really seen if you can just literally set the whole place on fire. That would be funny, like The Sims. But
Just
yeah,
watch everything burn.
Watch everybody drown. Watch
Amazing.
everything burn. Yeah, but yeah, I
My
really
kind of
enjoyed
game.
it. Yeah,
Nice.
and I loved how short it was. That's like double thumbs up as well for it. So
Was this PC?
PC
Perfect.
looks good on a big screen. That
Nice.
pixel.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
And just gonna briefly touch on that. I played Happy Game from Amanita Design. Thinking about writing a review.
Mhm.
Well, I've started writing it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's another Amanita Design point and click, and it's it's called Happy Game, but it's very much it's basically psychedelic horror. It was very good to play around Halloween time.
Amazing.
I played it last week, so yeah, it's, as I say, I'm going to be writing a review. So, but go check it out. I love Amanita Design. They're probably one of my favorite developers ever, and they just put out bangers every time. So they've never made a bad game.
Batshit bangers as well.
Yeah, and this is like they've leaned into it, because a lot of their other batshit games have been like, okay, light-hearted, and this is like, we're just gonna lean into like not even Tim Burton-esque. It's more horrific and grotesque than that. We're just gonna lean into.
Is it like
horror.
it's kind of leaning into the 80s sort of slasher films rather than that kind of like more dark, grim sort of era?
It's like The Blob.
super curious about this one.
It's you just look at it and you just think that they had fun. I mean, they probably have fun making every game they do, but they had fun making this game, thinking, let's make some just weird stuff. It's like the Moomins, but with more blood.
Oh shit. Okay.
Bloody Moomins.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds like Bloody
Perfect.
Mary.
It seems like a good place for us to open up another beer. I can see, Aadil, you're still chugging away.
It's fine. I kind of forgot about it all for a bit there.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a Bloody Moomins. I was just listening, and it was like, and then I
That's
like.
good. Means our
usually I'm-
conversations are riveting.
Well, I did that thing where it's like, oh, I'm drinking this really quickly. Oh, I'll push it away from myself so that I can time it better, and then did not time it better. In fact, timed it worse.
That's okay. I've got a beer. I'll talk about it, and then we can jump to you, because Lucy, you're just on the one this week, aren't you?
Yeah, I have no beer in the house, and I'm sad.
Oh no.
That is sad. I had a couple of beers sent to me from podcast friend and previous guest Callum. And he pinged me over one I'm going to drink now from Boundary. Called How Little You Know About the Game You've Been Playing All Your Life. I think we've found a winner for the longest name of a beer.
Is Callum trying to say something to you?
But also, like, weirdly pseudo-topical.
Slightly, yes. It is a tipper, though. So it's 10%. It just says a triple IPA, dry hopped with 30 grams per litre of Citra and Strata. That's it. That's all it gives me. Just
Yes,
barley,
I remember
wheat,
now. It was
oats.
a tipper that I had from Black Iris Brewery, and it was
Yes.
super dry. I think it was like 13-14%. Thank you for jogging that. No.
I mean, that's kind of, yeah, the 10% sort of feels on the cusp, doesn't it, between double and triple. I'm not sure what the hard and fast rules are, really. We've kind of discussed this before-ish. But yeah, that's what I'm going to drink. We could mention how... Oh, no, wait. I was going to say something slightly different to what I was going to say. I was going to say the Tories are cunts. They are cunts. But I was going to talk about Michaela being cunts as well, and how it was good that all of these other people dropped out of their, beer festival. We won't get into that. That is a big topic for us to lean into, I think, at some point. But I'm drinking a beer from Boundary. So take what you will from that. Aadil, what are you drinking next?
This beer. It's from 2-0.
Oh, I haven't had one of those on the podcast in a while.
Not for ages.
Yeah, nice to malty brown ale. Sorry, I just stole your.
No, that's perfect. But so they've got flavor text, which is underneath the title. Lucy, can you just do me a favor?
Yeah, sure. This beer is from Denmark, I think.
We're wondering. I think they mean wandering, but it says we're wandering into darker months, and we've brought our darker malts to match them with notes of nuts, coffee, chocolate, and rich caramel. We simply can't wait to malt you. And it's a 4.3% brown ale.
Okay.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
Not a Baltic porter.
No, not yet. Still clinging to the notion that the sun exists.
Yeah, we're still just in the autumn, aren't we? I know the clocks have slightly changed, so unfortunately the sun exists for slightly less of the waking day for lots of people. But I mean, look at that!
Oh,
look at that! Oh, fucking hell!
Thick boy.
It is. It's so orange. It's almost sort of.
That could block out the literal sun.
Done. There it is.
It's the Mr. Burns of beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely probably smells better than Mr. Burns. Very, very sweet. Incredibly sweet. As you would expect from a triple IPA. You get that incredible sweet nose. And there's definitely, on the nose at least, some really sort of sweet, like clementine. You know when you have like a clementine or a small kind of satsuma, but it's like super, super sweet. And it's super, super ripe. It has, and you just crack the peel to it, and you get that waft of smell. That's what this has to it.
Impressive.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it looks like a clementine as well, so...
I mean, it does, yes. It's very true. That's an insane flavour. I mean... It's as you would expect. It's thick.
Yeah.
And it's like juice. It's got the same kind of consistency as juice, but it also has a lot of those kind of orange flavours to it. So you start off very, very quickly with the sort of the fruit flavour to it, but go incredibly almost as if you're eating a clementine from the inside out. You go from that juicy fruit to then hitting that kind of slightly more bitter, kind of fleshy sort of flavour, to then having a much more zesty, almost peel note to it.
So you're eating the peel, the juice.
So exactly, going from the you've basically rind. Just gouged a big hole out of it and just chuff your face into it. Even though clementines are like this, like, tiny little things, you've just been like,
Just ate it whole.
exactly. But I mean, this kind of, we're talking about eating that whole. It sounds horrid, but this sort of works. Having I think that flow, giving you that sweeter, sort of fruity, orange, clementine kind of flavour first, eases you into those more bitter, zesty flavours that follow it up. It's a flavour that absolutely sticks around, and it's just here for ages, which is great for something 10%, because I'm not having to go back to it that often for that flavour to stick around. So it's kind of goes through those flavours, flows through those flavours quite nicely. But then once you've hit that zestiness, everything kind of just sort of comes back. Or it's that the fruit is always there. It kind of lasts, but then that sort of slightly more fleshy sort of flavour kicks in, and that sort of sits over the top, and then the zesty flavour sits in, and that flavour, and then when it hits a certain point, all of them dull back down to the same level. So the finish, everything is there with you. It feels like maybe there's a little bit of in that middle part, maybe with the more fleshy sort of, so there's a little bit of grapefruit in there as well, just to bolster that slightly. But only as sort of a subservient kind of flavour, just to heighten sort of everything else almost. It's an incredible flavour to this beer. It feels so big. It feels absolutely massive. Doesn't feel 10%. It feels bigger than that.
Everything up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not having to drink this. This is a perfect beer, an absolutely perfect beer to, even at 440ml, to sit with 3 friends, 2 friends, 1 friend, and just crack it between you. Just share a little taster of it. It's perfect for that, because you get such an intense flavour and flow and move through all of these flavours from this, that you don't need such a big can. I feel like I might feel different when I get towards the end of it, but at the moment I don't need to keep going back to it. I enjoy that flavour. It's good. It's there. Don't need much more. Have another sip now. Wait another 5 minutes, before I go back to it. So
Does it have that? Whenever I taste the Boundary beer, granted it's been a little while since I have, but they always have this kind of like powdery, like almost cloying like mouthfeel. Does it have any of that?
A little bit.
Maybe that's just my palate.
I think it's maybe not. There's not a sourness to it, but there's there's the hint that zestiness brings. There is that slight kind of pulling in of sort of taste buds and flavour and kind of mouth puckering sort of towards the end. But because it finishes quite quickly and everything then has equal footing in that long finish, it isn't too much.
Okay. I should have another Boundary beer soon.
I mean, have this one, but share it with someone. Absolutely.
Absolutely not. I'll just drink it all.
Just fucking smashed it. Gone.
Yes.
Aadil, nice to meet you.
Yep. You too, buddy. I showed the pour on screen, but
darker than I thought.
Yeah, it poured very dark and with quite a thick head. I want to say like 2 fingers easy. I mean, part of it is again my patented above the shoulders awkward on screen on camera pour, but it also I think is just kind of carbonated. It is an ale after all, not a stout or a porter. But that head just disappeared to leave like half a finger consistently. You can see on camera. It's also got really nice lacing. It's clinging to the glass.
Nice.
Even from here, I can smell that coffee, those nuts. That coffee though. This is like so. We got some donated coffee beans. Like someone acquired a bag of beans, and they've been sitting in the
Magic
kitchen for a
beans?
couple months.
Did you sell a cow?
No, but it's it might have been one of my housemates as a postman, and sometimes people leave things up on the ledge. He might have just grabbed a bag of
Sure.
coffee beans because I don't know, like basically.
It's an explosive in those.
Anyway, so regardless, we acquired these beans of questionable sourcing, and I made coffee with them the other day, and
All good.
it was the immediate smell when it was brewing was like, okay, I know what I'm in for. I'm a beverage snob. You can tell right away on a nose of a coffee whether it's gonna be a light sipper or a coffee. Again, no big deal. Love my coffee, right? But it was just like, this is going to be a lot more muddy. There's not going to be like fun nuanced notes.
How do you feel that I put the percolator like very far out of reach in unpacking? Then
That's fine. You got to get up and earn those calories. Wait, coffee has. But the reason I bring it up is because the smell of this.
Yeah.
Just the coffee notes with a bit of chocolate and some nuts is what I wanted that coffee to smell like. Right, this beer is coffeeing better than
Random
sourced
shelf
beans.
coffee, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's not
check the
quite a
expiry.
compliment. Yeah, that. Oh, that's really good. Sorry.
Oh,
The extra
going.
carbonation really opens it up in your mouth on the first sip. What I'm liking about this is I think it mentions something like caramel or something like that. But you do have this sweet caramel. I think it's from the malts. Just more caramel than like toffee though. Like it is there's a line of sweetness throughout that is just balancing against these malts. And again, they're roasted, they're chocolate, they're coffee, but they're not like in your face. My tongue doesn't feel like I've been licking something burnt. So, which most people don't like. I happen to enjoy either, but I think that's a plus. I think it's a well-balanced beer, especially given how effervescent it is. It's allowing the the not so in your face toffee chocolatey notes to come out on their own terms, come out a bit over time rather than being in your face and having to like sit on the tongue. And the bubbles just help bring it out without being in your face. Oh yeah, I haven't had I had a brown ale recently. I can't remember what it was now off the top. Do we remember?
The Canadian. It wasn't the one you brought back, was it?
No, you remember the Canadian brown ale from like 3 years ago, I think. As
That's how my brain works. I don't remember anything that happened in the last day, but ask me something from 7 years ago.
Straight there.
I'm pretty. Hold on a second.
Was it one of the hatch beers? Did you have a brown ale?
No, that was a blonde and a.
Oh no, and the lager. You had the lager.
Was it
Yeah.
a brown? No, it. There was a brown ale.
You and I
Oh,
had the brown.
I had the Coffee Friends brown ale.
Oh yes, Coffee Friends. Yes.
It was
Yeah.
brown, what was it?
Hilariously,
Yeah.
guess what episode that was on?
Is that
284?
284 as well?
It's like we only have 1 month of memories. That's 4 episodes to go.
Just white before.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what could be causing that at all.
Yeah, no idea. Yeah, so this I think is. I barely remember what I said about that. I think I was okay with it, but what I like about this is it's not coffee based in the sense that it's like we're doing malts in a brown ale, and because I think you can see that aim because it's like I said a little more reserved. It's not like hey, here's some coffee, right? And which is what I want on something that's still supposed to be a brown ale rather than like a weird butchering of a stout or a porter. Like I like the maltiness, but I like that it's staying in the brown ale character. And sometimes when people add these things to lighter styles, they end up like black ales are often don't quite live in a good space. They seem to like they're either like they're super malty often, and they have a burntness, but there's no offset because the style doesn't
Black
let it smooth out.
IPAs, yeah.
Yeah, black IPAs, same thing. Yeah, they just.
I think they do a good balance.
I mean,
Some-
I think
some
they
do.
can be. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. When you see trouble here, you know, in these varieties, and this isn't one of those examples. I
Okay.
guess. It's really light. I mean, it's not really light. You can't see because of the lights, but it is browner than black. It just you've got full on light
Yeah.
here. So from my view, there's a readiness with the
Oh,
light
okay.
streaming through
Yeah.
me. Is there a way I can?
Don't spill it.
Yeah, you can see that.
Oh,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
nice.
Sorry, that was a bit more nauseating than I meant. The camera got caught on the TV. This is why we don't do this normally. But yeah, there's a readiness. It's light. It's I like the chocolate. I like the coffee especially. This, in fact, the chocolatey. All the other malty notes really feel like coffee that has those notes. Like the chocolatiness feels really wrapped up in the coffeeness. Like, oh yeah, this is a more chocolatey coffee. One of those things, rather than this is chocolate notes and coffee notes, which is I think why I really like it. It's really well balanced for what it's doing, and it still feels light enough. At 4.3%, still feels like a brown ale. Because none of these notes are in your face, you could easily have a second. I think. I mean, I'll let you know in a bit, but I can't imagine getting like worn out of these flavors just because of the way they're presenting.
Okay, nice.
That's that
Good.
beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I could do with some brown ales. I'm
Ooh.
reading A Year Through Beer. I just started it like the other night.
I've read the introduction.
Yes, I'm probably 2 pages after the introduction, just reading about lambics. No goes, and I'm just thinking, it's not January yet, but I should buy some.
I did
Some goes.
I did wonder with that book, having read the introduction, whether I should just jump to November
I was thinking the same
and
thing.
read it kind of monthly almost.
Shall we do that?
That's it. Yeah.
Shall we make a blood pact to just do that? Because I'll feel
Or-
better about jumping ahead if you do.
I was just saying. Or I could acquire it between now and January, and then we could report back once a month.
Oh, next year could be our year in beer.
But
Like,
also feel free to read ahead.
I mean, we swim in beer here, so we'll chat about a year in beer at some point as well. Nice.
Did you get that for
Good.
your birthday?
I did, yes.
I thought so.
Nice.
My mother has very good communication with my wife.
I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised I didn't get that, given all the amount of beer-based gifting gifts I got.
Yeah, you need to let her know.
Like the
Say,
hot,
next time.
yes. Christmas
Yeah.
is around
Christmas
the
is
corner.
soon.
Fucking hell.
You're not wrong. That kind of scares me.
Let's move on from these horrid thoughts and get back to games. Aadil, let's come to you to talk about whatever you want to talk about this week.
I have the game I played yesterday, and then a small topic.
Shall we hit the small topic first, and then we can finish
Sure.
out on thoughts on the game that you played yesterday. Hermitage.
I mean, that was one of my bits. Was Hermitage,
Oh.
Hermitage, Hermitage.
I apologise for stealing it. Let's go to the topic.
Yeah. So I finished a game, which
No.
no one
Magic
believes.
the Gathering.
That game doesn't
Finished
finish.
You
Yeah,
finished
I
Done,
solved
mate.
it.
all the cards.
Oh man. No,
Every
I
grade.
finished a game I mentioned last week that I had been picked up after a long time because of my time on the train, which was The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of my favorite games growing up on I mention this all the time on the Game Boy. And Lucy's right. She, as I'm sure you're about to mention, it runs like dog shit on the Switch. There's all kinds of moments where you can feel the frame rate go bleh, but luckily it's a simple enough game that didn't really bother me. Over and above the nostalgia fest that was going through the game. And every time I was like kind of confused, it's like, oh, because they added this in a not original Game Boy version. Like, there's figurines to get at the claw game to make the claw game relevant after you get, you know, the shovel or whatever, the last thing you get. And like, but yeah, it's also short. Like, you can easily do a dungeon in like an hour, I would say, less.
Yeah, I'd say probably overall it's probably what, like 12, 13 hours to complete it.
Yeah, and so that, like, oh, I'll just pick it up. Oh, yeah, that dungeon was short. I'll just do it again. Got me through the game to the point where it's like, I'm just gonna finish this before we record, because like, but like, I actually caught myself last night being like, I'll just finish that dungeon, and then I played, and then I was like, oh shit, it is 12:30. I should go to bed. I'm in the, like, right before the boss fight in the second to last dungeon, like the last instrument, and I was like, but this hasn't happened to me in a long time. And so I just wanted to chat about getting gripped by games because they're old, even though this one isn't. Because I feel like that's really what grabbed me.
You have that
like,
nostalgia with it, as you said last week, so.
Yeah.
I think it's nice knowing how long a game is. It's like when I played Donkey Kong Country 3 not long ago. It's like, okay, I know this will only take, you know, what, 4 to 6 hours, and it's like I don't have to pay too much attention to it because it's like I've played this before, maybe not all the way through, but I've played this before. I know it. I think it's just that familiarity. It's like I've replayed Hollow Knight this year, which is, I mean, it took me 40 hours the first time, nowhere near that long the second time, but it's like, it's still a beefy game, especially as I did more this time around. So, yeah, I think it's just that familiarity. It's like, yeah, this is just like coming home. It doesn't feel like, okay, I have to get through it, I have to see the end, because if you don't, it's like, I've played this before. That stress is taken out of it. Negation.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. This is sort of why I ended up finishing it, ironically, was because I didn't need to finish it. And, like, there's something to be said about just playing a game. And it was like, and, like, that game's not great in some ways. Like,
I think, you know, if you're going to play a game like that, go play Link Between Worlds, because that is genuinely fantastic, and it runs well at 60. Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Link to the Past.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the weird 2D things with Goombas and piranha plants and whatnot, like, basically every stairwell you go through is now in dungeons is now like a weird 2D game that mimics Mario, and it's bad. It's not the control isn't quite tight as a platformer. It also
same in the first game. So it was like that in the first game. So
was it?
Yeah.
With Goombas?
Yeah.
Oh, am I misremembering? Anyway, it's I guess my only complaint is that that platforming isn't tight, and it feels really awkward when the only thing that should be making the game suck is its bad frame rate, not its bad controls in the rest of the game. But then, like, also, by the time you do the last 3 dungeons, you get some of the most powerful items, and then you don't need to use them much. It's like it ramps really weird, so you get like a wand that sets things on fire, but like you finish the second to last dungeon, like the last you get that in the last instrument place, and then you basically just walk 3 mountains to the right and go up and finish the game. And you're like, and spoiler alert for one of the boss fights in the last dungeon, like one of the forms of the boss, you need to use the thing to set it on fire. But other than that, it's just like a lot of the items just don't work, like don't do much in the world, and they just aren't used, and you're like, but why have I worked so hard and now it's like, but actually I could have probably won this fight with just arrows, bombs, and maybe the boomerang because I ran out of arrows.
Yeah, it's very faithful to the original in that
Oh
sense.
yeah.
Like very, I mean, it was a Game Boy game. Like
Yeah.
limitations of that, clear. But yeah, as I say, like Link Between Worlds overcomes that by like you can approach the game and the dungeons in mostly any order that you pick, and these items it has a system where you can like loan them. You can actually like buy them from the offset, so it's more free flowing. And I played what's the one that Capcom made, the Minish Cap.
Yeah.
That's very good.
I've heard, yeah.
I played that this year, and it's like this is It's like I enjoyed Link. What's the one what's it called? The Game Boy one that you played.
Oh, Link's
Link's
Awakening.
Awakening.
Yeah, Link's Awakening. It's like I enjoyed that. I think the art style it's probably the best thing about it, because I don't have that nostalgia of the first, because I didn't play it. But yeah, so I forget that I played that game. It's just very forgettable. Other than the art style, it's just very forgettable. But it's good that you had that nostalgia, and I think that's probably what that game was made for.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the nostalgia rather than the game, because I don't think the game is one that I'd say like, hey, if you're a Zelda fan, play this. It's if you were a Link's Awakening in your childhood fan, play this. So you knew that already. But like, yeah, I just was wondering if you guys had in more recent memories games that like you liked specifically because they were from your childhood and you picked them up again, or because they've just reminded you.
I can instantly jump in with this because I was going to talk about Age of Empires 4 a little bit this evening. Having played a ton of Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 3, an absolute ton of them. You won't know how much I've played because they weren't on Steam. I just had the disc for those games. That's how long we're talking for these. And Age of Empires 4 is great if you just want to play those games, but it doesn't do anything different. And I could just go and play those games.
Yeah, especially because Steam does have those games.
Exactly, and there's been definitive editions. You can buy like the upgraded version of Age of Empires 2 now with all of the extra expansions and stuff like that. Sorry, Lucy?
Did they have Xbox achievements though? There must be some like quality of life things, maybe that you haven't encountered yet, because I know you didn't play enough of it, that wouldn't.
I mean, maybe, but it feels almost a little bit like I've absolutely got nostalgia for those games, absolutely no doubt, and I felt like I would play them now and give them that little bit of leeway. But like, yeah, these are games from back then. They're not as accessible. They have all of these issues. It's a standard RTS. It's not it's not a different kind of RTS. It's not like Command and Conquer. It's not sort of one of the what were the Warhammer ones? Dawn of War, something like that, maybe the 40k ones. Anyway, it's some other RTS games, and 4 just feels like they've gone, hey, let's make the same game and not really do anything and release only maybe half of what those games originally released with it. If very very limited in kind of the different empires that you can be within it. And I'm kind of playing it through and just thinking, this is boring.
That's a shame. Do you think is it not even a case of like you're not in that headspace where it's like, I can't commit the time anymore?
No, I don't think so.
Because you would generally play this.
I mean, with it being an RTS, it's a bit different to say like a 4X where you think, I need a few hours to get into this and advance through the ages and do this. An RTS is a little bit more reactionary. things happen a little bit quicker as well. You know, you're not kind of moving through 400 turns. You're going, right, make these amount of humans, collect these amounts of resources. Now I can do X, Y, and Z. Cool, do those. Now I have to do this. Now I have to do this. Right, there's a person up here. Let's go and attack them. Let's do this. Oh no, they're already attacking me. Okay, let's send some troops in to counter that. No, let's build a wall across here because, of course, everything is the same. It's all the fucking same all the time. It doesn't deviate from its path, and it almost makes me think, like, did I actually enjoy these games? Did I enjoy Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 3, or was it just I know no different? Yes,
I didn't know any different when I played Sonic.
No, I mean exactly. I don't. You know, how many other games have I played to counter this different? You know, as a different style, not a completely different game, but something similar enough but better. And I think I very much swung more to the Civilization, Endless Legend, Humankind. You know, that 4X, that more strategy kind of based game. I feel like that talks to me a little bit more, and almost in a way is more kind of engaging than even an RTS, which is incredibly reactionary, and you have to be constantly kind of on the ball with this. You know, you've got your army over here, but you need to be knowing what your dormant villagers down here are doing, plus what this invading army is doing over here. You've got to be kind of all over the place. But it's just the same, constantly. I mean,
it's an interesting thing because it's like maybe you've just outgrown those games.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for a long time I loved racing games, and then it wasn't until really Forza Horizon 4 where it was like I fell off them for a good 10-year, 8-year period. Only until I played that game where it's like, oh yeah, racing games are real fun again.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
I mean, if time wasn't an object, my challenge would be find a different RTS and see if you have the same like terrain.
Yeah.
But I mean, who has the time to play games?
I mean, how many RTSs get made these days as well?
True.
It's almost a very niche sort of genre these days.
It's really bizarre.
It's a weird one, though, because this game was made in development, I presume, before Microsoft bought that company.
I don't know. It's made by Relic, who made the Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War games, which I really liked. It's not made by Assemble.
Yes.
I think was the previous studio who made those. So it's Microsoft just have the IP. Have then just, I guess, given it to Studio X.
They're just bolstering the Game Pass library, and they're just like, look, if people who like Age of Empires signed on to Game Pass and enjoyed this game, cool. Let's try and get a new audience, cool. But it's really just there to bolster the library.
Yeah, completely.
And I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. But if it's a case where it's like this game was in development for a long time because the last game was 15 years ago, then that would be genuinely surprising.
No, I think this is a very quick turnaround. I think this is sort of very. It's only got like six or eight sort of different empires to play as. They do work slightly differently. And there's a little bit of challenge in understanding how they kind of each work. There's a campaign in there as well, with some great like video footage before each of the things. You know, it will cut to some great drone footage of the historic battle site that this thing went on, and it really leans into the history of stuff. And I'm like, don't care, just want to play the game.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
you've spent all of this money doing this, and some people will absolutely love that, but I'm like, nah. Cancel. Don't play the campaign. Just play a skirmish. I'm all about the trebuchet. They take down buildings amazingly quickly, but
that sucks.
Don't care. Don't care anymore. So in terms of a nostalgia kind of hit, that's kind of almost had the opposite effect on me. It'd be like, yes, have I outgrown this? Do I enjoy it anymore? I did enjoy it in my younger days, but is that because I was ignorant of all of the other fucking experiences I could have had?
Well, there's a good case for this where I saw a headline saying that Left 4 Dead has got more players than Back for Blood now.
Yeah.
Like that game's seen a resurgence because, I mean, the only reason that I didn't fall asleep playing with you and Tom was because I was too busy trying not to puke because of my own sickness. But I didn't like those games anyway too much. So, but there's the stat where it's like this has drawn more people to go and play the progenitor of this kind of genre, and that's kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're getting residuals from like the people buying the original game, then cool. But if not, I would be like, they really like that thing we made before. They don't like the thing we made now. Do they?
Well, it's kind of isn't it? Is it Turtle Rock who made
Yeah.
Back for
Evil
Blood?
and the first Left 4 Dead because Valve made the second one.
Yes, but did Turtle Rock also make Evolve?
Yes.
Yes, so Turtle Rock made Left 4 Dead, Counter-Strike
2014.
Source as well.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead in 2008, Evolve in 2015, and then Back for Blood.
Yeah.
Well, they took their sweet long time making Back for Blood, and it seems like it's going to have a drop off real quick, real soon. Which is,
I mean, the only thing that could save it, I think, is we just don't. The market is like just desolate for PvE gunplay games.
they need a
That
Squid
aren't
Game.
MMOs, right? Like that are like pick up, play a session, and like that's almost the reason why I haven't really like tried to wrangle more is the fact that like Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 had these lovely like short few battle storylines, and this is one continuous thing, and I think that's actually a bad thing. That it is like seven levels to get through Act 1 to get to the to Act 1 to get to the opening credits. Well, it's 4 levels or whatever, but then another 4.
Yeah.
And then it's like Act 2, 3, 4 or whatever, and it's just this long stretched out campaign that you're still switching things up and like not really rogueliting, and I'd rather it be much more like play this chunk, like let's just play these 4 maps, we like playing these 4 maps.
Because I can see why that would be a deterrent for some people. I mean, I think it's got in its favour the fact that it's like cross-play and it's seamless in that, but I don't
very
know.
much.
Those don't interest me. It's like I either just want something that's full-on horde mode, like I don't know, like the first level in Call of Duty Black Ops, where it's just like you're in the house and that's it. Or I want something a bit more expansive with like more mechanics, like say State of Decay. Like I played some State of Decay earlier to get a Microsoft Reward point, and it's like just dropped into a horde mode on that, and it's like, yeah, this is fun. It's like, or you can just go into the whole management sim main campaign in that, and that's also fun. This just seems like a relic of the 2000s and stuck in between, and it's just so hard to predict nowadays. It's like they could add a mode in it and it just blows up, or it could just die and just go into the ether, which is, it's just so unpredictable now. Like how are you gonna you can't account for things like Among Us or that Jelly Bean Baby game that you like, Ben, from the PlayStation.
Fall Guys.
Yeah, it's like, who would have thought that would blow up, or, you know? So it's just like, it's rough. It's rough for anyone making.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And on a team who's probably, you know, AA at that point, it's like, it's got to be so rough. You know, you've got to be nervous every day making that game and every day after launch, because you just don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Left 4 Dead nostalgia. Yeah, we were on a tangent. But yeah.
I'm glad we got to a point where it's making games is hard, and it doesn't always hit right with everybody. From that, you know, instant like, hey, I'm playing a remake of a game from, you know, 20 years ago.
Only got
I don't think there's any. I mean, I so rarely go back to games.
yeah.
Even kind of like remakes. Something like Shadow of the Colossus maybe was a more recent kind of thing, which was fantastic in terms of the remake. But yeah, I don't think there's really anything that kind of.
I know you definitely don't look back, Ben, which is probably the healthy way
There's
to
no
go.
time. Fuck the past. There's no time.
Whereas I'm like, just let me stay in the past. I was in 1996 for a while playing Quake and Donkey Kong Country. So yeah, I always go back and it's like, yes, the nostalgia's there. Like, I think I play more old games than new games each year. So yeah, I'm permanently in that spot, Aadil, whereas Ben's opposite.
Mm.
You can't get me from 1990s. I'm here playing my Tamagotchi and Game Boy.
Just making sure it's just give it a bit of clean up its poo, give it some food, just make sure it survives the night. Aadil, having played this and having finished it, as kind of like a final thought, is there anything else that kind of calls out to you at the moment as well? Sort of something that is maybe like a remake or something like I don't know how much you played the kind of original Metroid games to lean into something like Metroid Dread, but is there something somewhere which is kind of new but old enough to get you into?
Not really. I might have a slight worry that this is gonna just push my RPG itch, because like I never finished Octopath.
Oh yeah.
I'd restart that game though, obviously, because I was like a few characters in. Like, I don't fucking remember anything that's going on. It's like I don't remember. I would need the easy fights to remember the combat system, maybe, but mostly just like I'd like to play the plot. I think this might have finally unlocked that it's okay to play games that take a long time. Bit.
Oh.
Achievement
That
unlocked.
I've been. Yeah, I think so. Just because it was like, oh yeah. Except for last night when I was really close to the end, I was playing a couple hours here or there, and that was fine.
Yeah. If you can do
And
13 hours, you can do 300 in The Witcher 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's mostly figuring out what next to play, because I have so many games.
I think getting on a roll is what I usually look to, because it's like just jumping into a big game.
Yeah.
Just like, I can't do it. Even if it's like, get on a roll, play Unpacking.
Oh yeah, that's already on my list.
2 hours.
So I actually, we probably we don't have really. Well, we have just enough time for me to say a few words about the Hermitage case files.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is what I think I'll play a little more of after we sign off today. It's paranormal visual novel style detective game from the East. It's a lot of text. I mean, when I stream texty games, I try and read in slightly different voices for the main character versus others. I can't guarantee the others won't all be variants of the same thing, but I try and at least whatever. But like, there was so much reading in that game. The premise is you're a dude who runs a bookshop that has weird books, and a schoolgirl comes in talking about her strange dreams, which may or may not portend the future. And then you, like, spoiler alert for my first 2.5 hours, we've finds of evidence through deduction that it seems like she actually did see the event she thought she saw, one of the events she thought she saw, and you also get introduced to a character who is a lawyer but also works with the city and so gets access to surveillance tapes. She's basically your external source of information, because you literally stay in your bookshop and you go upstairs above the bookshop to use the internet, which involves one forum page for strange stories and the television. And it hints that something happened about a year ago, really drastic, that you, a couple other people, and this this lady friend who has access to all the things we're involved in, and as a result, you are hiding out, staying, living in the bookshop. I can't say much more because I had one investigation which was very like, here you go, because it was teaching me about investigations, and it took 2.5 hours. I mean, again, I think it'll take less time if you weren't reading everything out loud.
Yes.
Slowly to the internet. But
Was the story interesting at least, though?
it had enough intrigue for me to keep going. I do think that if it's like, I want some challenge in the clues, and I did some brief poking, and it seems like there are bad endings to some of the chapters, or like not the best ending, which is good. That means that's what I like about these types of games, is where you won't screw everything up, but you still have to do the deductive work. That's why I'm interested in this game, is because I do like these mystery type games. I'm a logician, for Christ's sake. Of course I want to try and deduce my way through things and then feel like I beat the game with the power of my mind. And so I'm curious about that, but I think that is also where like story right now feels okay. It's paranormal stuff, and you didn't get access to the bookshelf until an hour and a half in your bookstore, and then the only bookshelf that matters is the one where you keep all the special books, and like 3 of them are Cthulhu references, one of which an RPG, and it's like, okay, well, this feels like, I'm not sure how much stretch and imaginative nature the paranormal might be, which is fine, but like then if the game mechanic of solving the mysteries isn't great, or it's just too few and far between, like the writing is, you can forgive games for being like on the nose tropey sometimes. You're like, but sometimes you feel like the authors think they're doing a thing, but it feels tropey and cliched, and I'm not sure where it lies. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. The scoring is all right. Sometimes that really doesn't fit the mood, because it's like often a theme for entire conversation.
When it's like when people are like,
and then I whispered to her, "It'll be okay."
Yeah.
It's not quite that bad, but it definitely has moments where you're like, maybe like change the MP3 just for these 3 screens. But yeah, it's also a bit odd that like it shows you when you're talking out loud, it changes the color of the text box. But you do a lot of internal monologuing because you're the narrator of the game, which took a while to figure out. But then sometimes when you're just going through stuff, you speak out loud, and you're like, why did he say that out loud to an empty room? Like, why? You guys made the active choice to make it clear that he is not just thinking in his head, because you've given me the flag that he's saying it out loud.
Maybe that's part of the story. Who knows?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, maybe something appears and he's actually been talking to someone the entire time. Who knows?
So good.
I was just going to say, it reminded me of this game called Tokyo Dark, which I still haven't finished, but
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, me too. That's why I bought it and still haven't finished it. So maybe check that out as well. And Tangle Tower, I think you'd like that. That's a generally good mystery game. I think it's on Apple Arcade.
I don't have that.
Where it's like, it does guide you. It must be a very hard balance to strike, where it's like, it doesn't want to guide you too much, but, it wants to follow you on that story. But there's kind of more puzzles than deduction, I guess.
Speaking of puzzles deduction, what's the name of that game you played on the boat, Ben?
Return of the Obra Dinn?
No, or maybe it wasn't the boat. The weird graphics, something.
Return of the Obra Dinn.
No. This year.
Take 5 minutes to figure it out.
I can't remember what it was. You
Paradise?
played a game.
Weird graphics on a boat.
Maybe it wasn't a boat, but it was you solved a mystery. You had to solve a mystery. It was an oddish game. You played it this year.
Hang on. Let me find my list of games I've played this year.
Oh no!
A mystery game I've played this year. Shit, I don't know. Let's have a look at this. This is
I'm
my
sure it's a
my
mystery
2021 list. Come on, my 2021 list. Open up my 2021 list. Open the list of 2021. Mystery games.
Mystery game. I mean, you're
You're
like
still
small.
trying to.
I'm looking through my
Paradise
list.
Killer.
I'm looking through my list of games that
It's
I've
gonna come to me at some point. It's
played. I mean, it's none of those. It's none of those.
oh, you know what? I could finish playing because I only played an hour of the stream, which was Black Sad.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the comic book one.
Yeah.
Backbone.
I can't believe I can't remember the name of this game.
I don't know. Mystery games I've played. The Big Con is sort of a mystery game, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. 12 minutes
And
is a
it's
mystery
set on
game.
a
but it's
boat.
not that.
The boat might be my brain making something up. Don't ignore the boat.
I mean, I
In fact,
played a
ignore
game
it.
played a game that was on a boat called King of Seas, where you're a pirate on a boat. But apart from that, I've got no idea.
Mystery game. It's not Paradise Killer from last year either.
Oh, maybe it is Paradise Killer. It is Paradise Killer.
I said that before I went to the toilet.
Oh, I didn't hear you because I was listening to Ben talking about finding his book. I didn't realize Paradise Killer was last year.
Paradise Killer was last year. Yes, Paradise Killer is fucking fantastic.
I can't wait for whoever's editing this podcast to realise that I said it 4 times.
Oh, I mean that.
Aadil realised.
I was. Yeah. Well.
It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's absolutely fine.
No,
There might
no.
be some post editing going on.
I just think it's funny.
I mean,
It makes for a good bit.
I mean,
Because if you don't
does.
remember the name of the game, me saying Paradise Killer,
Yeah.
what does that truly mean anyway?
Yes, exactly. But if you haven't played Paradise Killer, play Paradise Killer because that's a fucking
I
fantastic
need to
game.
play that, yeah. Switch.
yeah.
What
Is
a
it on
good.
a boat?
It's not on a boat. There's
On an island, isn't it?
There's a boat in it. One of the characters lives on a boat. Yeah. Let's finish
Anyway.
there.
On
This
an island,
week.
isn't it? So
It's
that's
like on a
fine.
set of islands. Yes.
Yeah. See, water, marine.
Paradise Return of the Oberdin Killer.
Paradise Den Killer.
Let's talk about beers. Lucy, you only had one.
Good. It's the best one I had today.
Yeah, good. Perfect. I had 2 beers. One was the Arbour, one was the Boundary. I would drink both again, but the Arbour more than the Boundary because it was just so much easier to drink as a one shot. I could easily pick that up tomorrow and have again, whereas the Boundary I'd want to drink with friends. Both good beers, but the Boundary definitely, I've still got that much of it left.
Oh wow!
So I want to kind of split this with people. Whereas the what was it called? All the Simcoe ladies, yes,
Would you
from
put a ring
Arbour.
on it?
Every day, I drink that beer every day. Aadil, how about you?
Yes. I really like both beers, but I think I'm gonna go with the Siren Enter Simcoe this week, and I think it comes down to like they're both really good. They both do interesting things. I liked that the Enter Simcoe had a little more oat forward, a little more creaminess. Really brought the Simcoe IPA flavors out without being really strong, like in your face. And the Next to Malty Brown Ale felt like it was doing something kind of along the same lines, was giving you chocolate, coffee, some nutty, malty tastes without, again, being in your face. But ultimately, so they both are doing like a nice nuanced, reserved, but really, like I said, nuanced. Like you get the detail. There's interesting things going on. But the I'm a bigger fan of like a slightly boozier, hazy IPA than a brown ale. Like it isn't this is the clear quality winner. They're both doing what they want to do really well, and they're both doing it in a very similar way. But I'm gonna get the Siren a second time. While I would, if you like brown ales, I'd fully recommend the Nice to Malt You. And if you, or if you just want a lighter sort of coffee, multi-forward beer, so like because you don't want a boozier stout or something, that's an excellent beer to have.
Nice, good, perfect. So, If you want to talk to us about the beers that you've been drinking or the games that you've been playing, you can do so in lots of different ways. We are at Tanked Up Cast on most of the socials. I'm at Nova_47. Lucy is Juicy Lucy 9. Aadil is at the Omniarch. On all of the socials and the places that we play games as well. Chuck us a follow, a like, subscribe, listen, a share with your friend, a tell someone else about this, thumbs up.
Chuck us £1,000,000 as well, yeah.
I mean, that'd be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. A few beers, even just a few beers. That'd be good. Yeah, like a tenner for a couple of beers. That'd be fine. You can get us in all of the standard places, as I said, at Tags Upcast on almost everywhere. Or you can go to outoflives.net to listen to all of our old episodes, see our beautiful faces, read the various reviews that we put out. As Lucy said, she is looking to put up a review soonish.
In the next week.
Yeah, the last one you did, what was it, Bonfire Peaks?
It was indeed.
Yeah, perfect. There's some other writings. There's some other writings that we all put up as well. And Aadil's First Looks streams, if you miss them and you don't go onto the Twitch, you should. But also, if you don't, then they're on our YouTube page and on outoflives.net as well. Aadil, we didn't get to talk about Hermitage a huge amount, but people can watch those first 2.5 hours. Yes, yeah. They can go and watch those first 2.5 hours over on outoflives.net or on the YouTube when it is put up, or on the Twitch VOD right now. Yeah, tell your friends, share a beer with us, come and join us in the Discord, have a chat with us, be cool, don't be a Tory. That's probably the worst thing you can do at the moment. Love the world, drink enjoyable beer, play lovely games, don't buy NFTs, stop raping the fucking earth. I think that's it.
I like how you were like, I have a hard out at 10, and then you were like, oh, plugs. I'm Nova_47. Then we can, and now you're just like NFTs. Fuck the Tories. Like, don't forget to comment on the videos.
Yeah. The important bits. The important bits. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a platform. I can do what I like with it. Fuck the Tories. We've been tanked up. Goodbye.
Agreed.
Bye.
www.outoflives.net